Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Bucket.
What's up, guys?
How's
it going? I know
it's been a few weeks.
I mean, we didn't have anything to talk about last week, and that's been the problem with this news drought. And then this week, it's like, okay, here I have 15 tabs open, ready to talk about all of this.
Well, to be fair, there was just a little bit last week, but with our every other week schedule, would have thrown things further back. So it was like, let it pile up this week. We'll slam it with all the stuff that we've had. Then we're off next week, which is a holiday weekend, and then we come back for my birthday week. So
during the holiday weekend, I'll be at PAX West. So if there's anything new I've seen while I'm there, at least we have stuff to talk about. Yeah. And then we'll come back for the final week. So it's like, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we've got a good amount of stuff to talk about with the news and the stuff that we've been playing, because every single one of us has been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
I haven't gotten that game yet, so don't.
Shut up! No, you haven't.
I have not actually.
What are you doing? Catch up!
I'm waiting on my fucking upgrades, because I don't want, like, when I do the PC, I'm doing everything from scratch, like building it up. So I don't want to get into the game and have to start all over again.
Why would you have to start over? Cloud saves.
I'm excited for starting over again, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got two characters running. I think they've got two characters running. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the problem?
Well, I've got my main character running, and I am just so engrossed in this. I'm already like, I can't wait to play this again.
I know.
Yeah, I'm also trying to finish Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so.
This is like the first game in a while that I've been like so engrossed in that I just want to like do nothing else.
I think this is a game too that it's kind of an anomaly. Like there's those times when you see games as you grow up, and it's like people are going, this might be one of the greatest games of all time. And this game does have its problems, its glitches, and everything else, but I think they'll work those out. But even so far, I think I'm 50-something hours in on my main character, and not past the Act 1, which is insane to me, knowing there's 3 acts. That I could say that this has a potential to being one of the greatest games of all time, just in the fact the amount of people to build. This is not my style of game. Those that don't know me, this is not a game I would normally play, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I absolutely love it.
The amount of creativity people do as far as like kind of combat stuff and killing shit.
Yes.
Like the exploding barrels everywhere.
Shoving people off ledges.
Barrel mancers is what they're being called.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, you're a barrel mancer then.
I haven't heard that.
You have a title.
I did it one time.
I did it for 2 things.
I did it for one thing, and that was it.
And there's another one called a druid build called Off the Top Rope.
Okay.
You just like slam people.
The
owlbear drop. Holy shit. Oh.
Stack a bunch of boxes up as high as you can get the owlbear on top, and do the giant grow thing, and then they jump off, and boom, it's like one-shotting bosses and shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even have a druid in my party. No. Damn it.
I am a druid for my run.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I ended up running a druid for my run. I've kind of like fell into it. Granted, my character has fully taken up like the support role in the group. I do a little bit of everything, and I kind of help control the encounters. I'm not necessarily the damage. I've got 2 major damage dealers and a tank healer support, and then me as big support. So.
I like that you and I are running the same 3 NPC party members, but we're using them very differently, except for Gale, because you. Well, no, you're not running Gale.
I don't run.
You swapped Gale out for Karlach.
Karlach, yeah.
Karlach.
Oh.
Sorry, Karlach.
Karlach.
I love her.
Karlach.
I don't need another melee. So.
She gives me so many feels on so many levels.
She's gonna I already have subsequent playthroughs planned and party comps for the subsequent playthroughs, so she's in one of mine. She's gonna feature heavily in one of my next ones, but in this one it's
I run Shadowheart, Astarion, and Karlach, which, to be fair, like running through it with these 3, Karlach and Shadowheart are my cheerleaders. They thoroughly enjoy my decisions, and then Astarion is my homeboy. He's like, yeah, that's like that. No, I absolutely do not like that.
I like his honesty.
He is neutral with me, and he is like, okay, like just balancing. He does not like me. He does not hate me. He is just going along, which I like that in the party comp, where it's not just a bunch of cheerleaders.
I pretty much that's the one I swap out. Like I have Karlach right now. I have Karlach and Shadowheart that are running on my main, and then I swap out whoever the other one is based on.
What
A
you
lot
mean?
of times it has to do with whatever storyline I'm doing. So if it's somebody that I know is part of that storyline, then I'm going to put them in there and make sure that I do it. I might switch it out depending on what their strengths are, but like I'm really enjoying it, and I like fucking around with different parts of the game and seeing like, am I going to die if I try this?
Yeah, the F5 and
Quick
F8,
save,
the
man.
best combo.
I'm running of course I'm running one for just me playing with nobody around, and just for, if anybody was wondering, you can get your party members to have fun together and go off to each other.
Well, yeah, because you're
without
getting
you
the
involved.
You can swap in.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, so you can do that, but so I'm running one of them, and like my main one, I'm really enjoying like the decisions I'm making with them, but I'm experimenting with the ones that I'm doing on stream, because it'll be like, I wonder what happens if I do this, and about that time you're like, oh, I died. Okay, that's what happens. Okay.
Earlier today, because we're at the point where you have to make a decision on, you know, do you want to go this way to get this place, or do you want to go this way to get this place? And I was like, I'm just gonna fuck around in the second one because I'd like to go the high road, but I'm gonna fuck around in the low road for a minute because I can get there without, like, I can go play in it without any consequences. Like, I can still leave. And so I was like, I spent like 15 minutes figuring out if that's what I wanted to do or not, because Chicken is taking the low road as his main one. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna wander around in here and see what happens. I literally took 2 steps from where I had saved the game and loaded in, and I was in combat, and I didn't even know what I was in combat with. It literally started the combat, everybody rolled for initiative, my initiative, like the bad guy initiative was first, and something jumps into the middle, and then yeets Asterion into a chasm, and he's absolutely gone. And I was like, reload? I don't like that. What happened?
Yeah, so I was in the same area you're talking about.
Vague as possible.
Yeah.
Same area you're talking about, and I get up and I was like, okay, so I hear something die on the opposite side of a wall.
I didn't even
And
hear
I
that.
go-
This must be a different place because there was no wall.
Okay, so the other side of the wall, I heard something die, and I go, okay, I've got to stop that from being a thing. That's obviously a trap. So I figured out how to stop the trap. And then I was like, oh, what's this over here? Oh, I've already been inside this little area right here. Oh, there's a way around the side. Okay, cool. Hey, what's this thing over here? So I
know
click
what
it,
he's talking about.
and I click on it, and about that time I went, holy shit, this motherfucker just popped out from nowhere.
Let me ask. Did it give you a cinematic of walking through things?
Yes, it did, sir.
I know exactly what you talking about. I said the exact same thing. I was like,
that was a
cool.
fun fucking battle, though. That was a fun battle, but it was, oh my god, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I had that, and I had another fight where a thing came up out of the ground, and I was like, oh, this probably gonna be, oh no, it jumped in the middle. Okay, well, 2 of us are in death saves, and 1 of us got yeeted off into the chasm.
Man,
my F8 button's getting real tired.
I just have to give so much credit to this game, like, because if a scenario doesn't go or I want to try something else, I'll just reload it and try it again, or reload it and try it again. The amount of variables and different approaches that you could do with just about anything is wild to me. Like that one encounter, Og, there are different ways to approach it. There are different outcomes to it based on, you know, who you can talk to, and what information. Like, there are so many secrets that you don't have to get, that if you do different things, you can learn different things about it. It'll give you more advantages for later or disadvantages for it's crazy.
The decision I ended up making ended up causing 2 battles.
Yes.
Don't tell me I don't know where you're at.
And we're not, but I'm just gonna say I ended up causing 2 battles because of decisions I made.
It was the first battle and then a conversation, and I don't think there's any way in that conversation to not have the second battle and then the second battle.
I don't think there is either. I think the only way you get through not having the second battle is making different choices in the first battle.
Yes.
That's the way to state that.
I love
Yes,
that
we are on the same
when,
page.
like, anybody around us that was listening, especially if it's somebody that didn't play games at all, listened to us try to talk around each other. We're like, oh, I did this battle. And another one's like, yeah, I did that one too. Do you remember that thing? Yeah, the thing that did the thing? Yeah, that thing. And, like, you really, those are the words. It's not like you're making this up and using thing as placeholder. Like, that's literally the conversations that we are having.
Yeah.
So that we
Yeah.
can avoid spoiling it for somebody else but still talk
Yeah.
about it.
Because there's so many things in this game, like so many
whispering.
approaches.
It was the other day. Oak was like, "Hey, Chicken, did you do this thing?" And Chicken's like, "You mean the thing that does that other thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, come here." And they're like over there whispering in the corner so that it wouldn't spoil it for me. It's so funny. It's so funny to watch us have conversations about this stuff.
I think it's the best part about it is like I think Chicken's further along than we are in the plot.
Yes,
right?
I think I'm
A
further
little.
along.
He's a little bit. Y'all must be similarly close.
Are you still in the same area, or did you pass the area?
I have moved on.
See, this is
Okay.
what I'm talking about. You still in the area?
Okay,
Vague.
so
I have finished that entire area and have
Okay.
moved on
okay,
to a next phase.
That-
There's a lot to do in that area, by the way. There is a
I was
certain
so surprised
place.
how big that is.
There is a certain place with certain things that fuck up your day.
I don't want
Fair.
those things. My day is
They-
already bad enough most of the time.
I had to be so fucking creative to try to get through that. It's wild. Because I spent a good 30, 45 minutes trying to big brain solve that puzzle. And you have to.
I'm interested to see what you're talking about because there's an area I got to that I was lucky enough to be able to see down into an area that I knew was going to fuck me up, and I was able to solve an issue before I ever got to it.
That one, I know what you're talking about. We're
Okay.
talking around. I think that is something Griff has already dealt with too.
The one I
Down
just
an
did?
area. I
We'll
think
say
so.
we'll say friends of clickers. Does that help?
Oh no.
No,
She
okay,
hasn't
no,
done that
I've
one.
seen dead
Okay.
ones of those. So no, I don't know what you're talking about yet.
Okay.
I've done that, but
Okay.
there's another huge area.
Okay.
Like it's I think as loosely as I can say it, it's a magic area.
Okay. Interesting.
Uh,
I have no idea what we're talking about, so
yeah,
just
you guys
here for
haven't
the
been to
ride.
it then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
haven't got to that point. You're definitely further along.
well, that's still in that area. Like
Okay.
it's just off
Well,
on the
but I
side.
mean,
We
that-
just
somewhere.
haven't gotten there yet.
You just haven't got to that
Yes.
part of the area yet.
I wish you the best of luck when you get to that spot. I had to get fucking creative to handle that.
Okay.
Like very creative, and it was rough, man.
Oh man.
Well, but you're keep in mind too, like Griff and I are in the same difficulty level. We're on Explorer.
yeah, you're
whatever it's
running the
called.
one ahead of us.
and you're the
Yeah,
one
I'm
ahead
running on
above us.
tactician.
So his a little bit more difficult anyway, but it sounds like it's gonna be hard.
I
the way it is.
absolutely love the tactician difficult because holy shit, I can't be afraid to not use all of my every time I'm in a fight, I fucking just use resources. I use all my short rest, long rest stuff. I use all my spells. You have to be creative. If you are not, you just get punished bad,
Yeah.
really bad. So it's like all my resources go. I will short rest after this, or I will heal after this. But I need this. I can long rest to get it back, but I need this to get through these encounters.
I do really enjoy too, like just having the conversations with the NPCs they've created. And I watched somebody that's part of the crew that created the mocaps for the actors had posted on Twitter on how all that was done. Every single shot you see of an NPC, and that includes the ones like when we eventually get to Act 3 into Baldur's Gate and do all that type of stuff. Like so that all the people that are just wandering around, all of their motions were mocapped, and
I
it
like
is the
that
actor's
the
mocap that you're.
parties, yeah, were
It-
definitely like that's
Yeah,
really
All
all
the
nice.
parties definitely are, but they're like even the head bobs and stuff like that you see of the party are straight up the actors doing, which I think
I
is
like it.
amazing to me.
I fucking love the mocap, the animations of this game. Like you can watch your party members while you have conversations and watch their face actually have reactions to your conversation in real time. It's so nice because they're like actually reacting to you, and you can see when people are like, "Yeah, I like that," or they're like, "That's not a
I
very
always
good
know things are
choice."
going real well because it like puts your party behind you kind of in the order that you have them on the side of the screen. So Asterion is always like right next to me. And watching him in conversation always tells me how things are going. If he starts smirking, we're probably about to start fighting. So
Have you ever been? I have a question on this one because I ran into this issue and I had to F8 real quick. Have you ever been in a situation to where you're thinking about what you need to do? You're not currently in a battle. Your characters are just standing there, and someone dies while you're waiting. Not one of your characters, someone in the vicinity of where you're at. Something happens, and you go, "Shit."
I've had that not so much waiting, but like when I'm walking up to a thing that's happening, if I hear too many people dying, I will like try to reload and go a different route real quick.
Okay.
So
I've had people dying in the background while I was having a conversation with somebody.
Oh.
I had to have the conversation. I'm like, what is happening right now? Come out, there's dead people, and I'm like, oh.
I hate trying to loot boxes in small spaces because your party is huddled around you, and you're trying to click the box, and you're like, you click, and then all of a sudden Asterian's like, so about this thing we just did. I'm like, yes, I value your opinion, but I just need that box behind you. If you could scoot over a little bit, thanks.
Yeah, they do that.
I've started moving boxes if I could, because
so you can reach them.
The problem I have is the fact that my main character climbs on top of a box that he's standing next to open said box he was standing next to. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? You're right here. Why are you climbing on this? I don't get it.
Is it a halfling?
No.
No.
Oh, my half elf for my druid half elf.
Mine's a half elf.
My half elf does the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like, so I think it's because it's trying to path to open the box from behind for whatever reason, so it puts you on top of it. Yeah, and it's like, man, what are you doing? Stop that.
I've had it to where I was walking my characters or my entire group from point A to point B, and there were boxes near the entrance of point B, right? And they climbed over the top of the damn boxes at point B to get to it. And I'm like, just instead of just walking around.
Doing one of the fights in one of the areas, there were these like they're just like decorative pieces, but they're these crates that are covered with canvases and whatnot. And they kept trying, like, I would click the thing that I wanted to path to, and instead of them going around it, they would walk up to it and get stuck kind of inside it. So I'd have to use, they'd stop because they were stuck then, and I'd have to use my jump to get them out of it. So like some of the pathing is a little squirrely depending on, I think it depends on how much space is around it.
I wonder if some of that got fixed with the massive patch.
Oh no, I did this like yesterday.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. So it's still
that patch was insane.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they're fixing it and putting things in on the go, and now Baka can start playing because he knows that it cloud saves. I didn't know you didn't know that. I would have told you a lot sooner. That's how I'm playing at work and at home, because it's 2 PCs, but it saves to the Steam cloud.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't want to get like 80 hours into this, and then once I get the PC build, it's like, oh, I'm starting over, because I'm not even moving my Steam library over, because I've got games that through mods or whatever have fucked it, like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Like even uninstalling and reinstalling it, the game keeps crashing. Removing the mods didn't help. Wow. It just it completely fucked it. Yeah.
Well, yes.
Format everything and start at the beginning.
Saves to the Steam cloud.
Yeah.
The only thing about the Steam cloud, I'll say, if anybody's playing on a laptop, to make sure that before you close your laptop, you've exited out of the game and watch it fully send, because even though
that's what I have to do at work too. Yeah,
even though it's completely sent, because you log out from work. So so make sure before you log out, before you close your laptop, whatever, that it is fully sent, because otherwise when you get to your main PC, you're gonna have problems.
It's gonna be like, your cloud's out of sync. So yeah, I always watch it before I close Steam. I'm like, are you done? Are you done? Not when it says 100%, but when that is gone and it says that I can, play or whatever.
Cloud save up to date.
Yeah, that is when it's safe. So, but yeah, we've been all over that, and back now you can start your addiction too. It's okay.
Ugh, it's so good.
You can safely start your addiction.
I still need to finish Assassins first.
I'm like 80 hours in and still in the first.
Are you seriously 80 hours in, still Act 1?
Oh yeah, I've taken my time. I've reset encounters. Like, I've done a lot of resetting to kind of just explore my story.
72 hours is what my Steam says.
What does mine say?
So I'm 72 hours in and still Act 1.
Well, some of yours too, though, you have to walk away from your computer.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'd say maybe at least 10 hours of that. So 62 hours and I'm still in Act 1.
You can check how long. I think I've got, I can't remember how much I've got in that first one. But yeah, it's a good game. You lose hours and
Did
hours.
you build your now? I got a question for you, Chicken. Did you build your character that you all are originally playing as a group? Did you create? Are those characters the same type, or did you choose something different for your individual versus?
No, I chose something entirely different. Okay. Our characters that are running together, it's a gnome monk, and then my character alone is a half-elf druid, and I've got a paladin on the docket to make and a cleric to make.
Yeah, I'm planning on making a bard. I probably will re-roll my cleric into a solo campaign at some point because that's the one I was gonna play with Chicken, but
yeah. I gotta say,
she's chilling.
Multiplayer is okay, but you either need to do it. You just need to do it as a 4-person group playing it, and then you need to design, like, pick who's gonna be the voice of the group, because the story and parts of it get a little wonky when one person has a conversation and then the other person tries to have the conversation, and it's like, you already talked to this person, but I didn't. My party leader did, so the story has moved on from my part of it, so it doesn't sync up super well in the multiplayer part of it. So you gotta have like a party leader to move the story for you. So it's interesting. But yeah, it's in my opinion more enjoyable as a solo campaign because you get to pick your characters, you get to pick your companions, you get to choose how you want to handle the encounters. Resetting is on your schedule.
I do like the Twitch interaction with that too, because of like the integration with it, because you do have a choice if you want to. You can still choose which way you want to go, but you can see where your chat wants to go, which I think is a cool concept, because you can turn around and see, okay, how many douchebags do we have in this chat? Or how many people do we have that are legitimately trying to play the game? You know, so I think it's very interesting to kind of see how everybody's going to play this game differently, not only by type of person they choose, but also decisions they make and things like that. One of the patch things, and I heard him say it on one of the deal, and I didn't know. You two will understand what I'm going to say on this one, but you know how you can make an encounter and walk in something that you don't want to walk in on?
Oh yeah.
The dialogue changes now, so you can actually not open that door.
Oh.
Did they change something to that?
Yeah.
I guess your party members might note it to you.
Actually, yes. Shadowheart in my case was like, well, I don't think we need to go in there. It sounds like we don't need to go in there.
Oh.
I know if you play a specific class, you can actually walk away from that encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Which class?
Bard.
Oh, okay.
You can actually walk away from it. You have different options in dialogue.
I actually completely forgot about that. I was like, I think I'm done with everything up here, so I'm just gonna go over here and do this thing now. I forgot all about that. So they can live happily ever after for right now. That'll be fine.
I just want to play more.
I know. It's like I don't want to do anything else but play this. Although I will say, I did. Saints Row came out on Steam this week, so waited my year, bought it on sale, came out at 67% off. Thanks. And I'm glad that it did, because I'm like 2-3 hours in maybe, and some of the conversations in this game are like what I imagine robots think people sound like when they talk. Like, if you are a robot who doesn't have a whole lot of basis on interacting with other humans or watching humans interact with each other, I imagine some of these conversations are what you would think is real humanity, and it's not. It's like the uncanny valley of writing, where you're like, that's close, but there's just something that's not quite right about it. So I don't know. I'm giving it time. I'm still in like the tutorial phase, so it doesn't feel like Saints Row yet, and I'm wondering if it will. So.
Probably not. Not from what I've read in the reviews. It's definitely not.
I don't.
And I told you to take the Saints Row hat off.
That's the thing. I'm giving it time as long as it's fun on its own. So far, I haven't gotten to do a whole lot of like fun stuff. It's been like here's your generic combat that you would have in literally any game. Get your gun, shoot the bad guy. Okay. I'm waiting for the charm of the game, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So we'll see. They let boss be snarky still, but the rest of the world around it feels kind of flat, and it definitely feels like they were trying to lean into GTA as opposed to Saints Row. So I guess they're rebooting it from like Saints 1, Saints 2 maybe, instead of 3 or 4, where things are funny because they're funny, not because, you know, a corporate person is writing it, I guess. I feel like some of the things that have happened were supposed to have a laugh track, so it was like self-aware that it was bad, but it doesn't have the laugh track, so I guess it's just not self-aware yet. But... Well,
then I'm going to create you a little laugh track button so you can just hit it every time and make yourself feel better.
Or them to laugh, like do that stupid theatrical bullshit laugh where they're like, ha 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 ha, and then back to the conversation.
Like, won't make it funnier.
Yeah, well. So that I'm gonna play that game. I went to install it and it surprised me because it installed so fast because it's only 46 gigs. And I say only 46, like if this was like 6 or 7 years ago, we'd be like, well, that's still pretty good. It's 46 gigs means I'm gonna slam through it in like 8 to 10 hours and be done with it. So we'll see. I'm not entirely disappointed yet. I'm giving it time. You guys want to talk about news? Now that I've killed our Baldur's Gate conversation?
Hey, that's fine. We got to move on from Baldur's Gate. We can sit here and play it for, talk about it for hours.
We can also play for hours.
72 of them at least. Oh.
There you go.
Where do you want to start with this stuff? Because
we would do last week's?
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll start with last week's, which THQ Nordic did their thing on August 11th, 2 weeks ago. Just about 2 weeks ago. And they showed off a bunch of their new games. New South Park game, which I think it's a VR.
Well, what it looked like.
Yeah, interesting choice.
Baka, how do you feel about that? You're the big South Park fan.
I mean, as long as the gameplay is good and fun. I mean, it's not the first time South Park has done a weird thing with the game. I mean, PS1, I think, had a racing game. Yep. Nintendo 64 had the one. It was like you basically ran around throwing stall balls and
at turkeys.
There was a turkey gun. There was one that made people like dance against their will, and you would go around multiplayer fighting friends with it. There was an upgrade snowball where basically you peed on it and threw it.
Gross. I mean, what do you expect from South Park? But gross.
Sounds like good upgrade. I mean, you
know. There were 2 other like main ones that I wanted to point out. Titan Quest 2. It was like a Diablo style game from back in the day. Titan Quest. It did fairly well. It had a lot more varied builds in that style, but it played a lot like Diablo 2. They're making a sequel. Not surprising. THQ Nordic loves to revive old games. They're the ones that remastered and re-released and added DLC for the original one like 12 years after, or 15 years afterwards. So that's cool. And the other one that I am super interested in, and I know Baka is going to be interested in, is that they announced TMNT: The Last Ronin.
That one's going to be different.
It is by... Damn, what was that company? It is by... it doesn't show me what company it is, but me and Baka were talking about it. And the company that made it was from Destroy All Humans, I think. Destroy All Humans and Destroy All Humans 2.
Yeah, the remakes.
Yeah. Which they did fairly well. They were very enjoyable for people. So I'm interested to see on the gameplay take that they're going to do with this one. But if the previous games this company has made is any tell, the gameplay should be pretty good. And I'm really interested to see the story of this one.
I mean, I read the comics, so I kind of know the story, but
I want to see it I want to see it like put into game form and see how well they can tell that story in a game format.
I don't know the plot line at all, but at the end of the day, I still want to see what it looks like.
You know what The Last Ronin is?
Yes, but I know what I mean. I'm just saying. I prefer to kind of play the game more than I would worry about reading the comic book on that one. That's just a medium difference, you know. I don't have a problem with that.
It's a dark story for TMNT. Last Ronin, only one. It's not really a spoiler. It's called The Last Ronin. Only one brother is makes it.
They actually tell you in the announcement who it was.
Yeah. Oh, did they? Did it actually show?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me rephrase that. Somebody said who it was while. Like, I don't remember if it was the article I was reading or what, but it does.
Well, I mean, at this point, like the comic's been out for a little bit, so I'm sure someone has spoiled who the Last Ronin is.
Yeah.
Yes, which is more than likely one you wouldn't expect. Well, saying that leads you to who to suspect.
Yeah.
Because when we first talked about this, I think it was a few months before this was even announced, Bach was like, "You'll never guess who it was," and I was like, then it's not an obvious choice. Is it so and so? It was so and so. Like, yeah, that makes sense as to that character. When
I originally started like reading the comic, I had a choice between like two of them. Like two of them, I was like, no, they're fucking out. They're done.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the comic? Was it a good comic? A good story?
It was really good.
Okay.
How was the comic presented? Like you said, you had two choices. So basically, they don't let you know until later on in the comic.
Yeah. It wasn't the first. I don't think it was the first issue of like who was revealed to be the last one. I think it was like the second. I wouldn't say like the second issue maybe. Okay, but it wasn't right away. Like they kept it in suspense. They were just.
They drug it out?
No, not all that much, no.
Okay.
They drug it out enough to get like to pique your interest, and then they're like, okay, here we go. Now the interest in it is finding out how the other ones died, and you know the rest of the story with the. Well, I don't want to go into the spoilers or anything, so.
That's fine.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's a good story. Like I know that it seems to be the thing, dark retelling of classics, and this is definitely a dark retelling of that. So it's pretty good. So in game format, we're gonna have to see how they do and how well they
it's basically like Ninja Turtles, and like this is a dark timeline that branched off.
Hell yeah! But I'm very interested in playing this one. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. But those were the main ones that I was looking at from the THQ. Still no Darksiders. Sad face.
Never.
Darksiders 4 will still be announced. I am still holding on to hope these days.
I don't foresee that one happening.
Shut up. I don't want to. I didn't ask you for your opinion.
He doesn't want our negative takes on that.
No. You know. Until they like come out and say there is no Darksiders 4 ever happening, get over it, I still won't believe them. But they showed off a bunch of other stuff, different games, Recreation, a car game, open world racing game. Oh yeah.
Yeah, theirs was kind of lackluster to me. Like it wasn't great.
It was 35
I've seen much better
minutes.
shows from them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 35 minutes, and all they did was just do reveals, which, to be fair, for a short show and just to kind of like throw their games out
that's
there,
what the Game Awards does too. So I mean,
yeah.
And it's
I thought they gave awards out. It must have been.
They do that, but they treat it like the commercials for the.
Oh, yeah. I am so not looking forward to this year's Game Awards because it's their 10-year anniversary. So you know they're going to do some giant like 3-hour show with like 4 awards and nothing but music and stroking
Jeff Keighley's ego.
Yeah,
we'll say ego.
He does a lot for the gaming industry, but oh my god,
right?
He gets nothing back more than stroking his ego. Like he fucking loves it. Yeah. Like I said, kudos to how much you do for the industry, but damn boy.
He's definitely one of those people that's like, I'm doing this for the good of everything. Now recognize me, worship me, continue. You know, you're like, okay, you're doing a good thing, but God, you're doing it for self-important reasons.
We watched the announcement for for Gamescom that he had the opening night thing for Gamescom.
He loves to be the one to be called to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and old man goes, "This guy's getting on my nerves," and I can't remember. I want to say Phil Spencer was up there or something at the time, and I was like, "What, Phil?" Like I was about to get mad at him, and he goes, "No, the guy hosting," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's normal."
Yeah. That's to be expected with Jeff Keighley.
We all feel the same.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I think everybody feels that way about him. I feel like he wants to be as beloved and well known as Reggie, but people are not gonna like you because you just ooze that used car salesman feel at this point, dude. We know that you want us to like you. It's the desperation that's hurting you.
Yes, like Reggie has charisma and like this feeling that you can. Damn.
That he's likable, because Jeff Keighley doesn't feel likable.
Relatable is the word I was looking for. Like you feel like you could relate to Reggie. Like he's a down to earth gamer. He speaks mostly humbled. Phil Spencer's the same kind of way too. Like they feel like they're grounded when they talk. I feel like you could have conversations with them. But
I feel like because they're ambassadors too. Like they're ambassadors for the product they're trying to do. Where Jeff's trying to figure his out.
Well,
yeah, like he feels like he's the host, like he's big man on stage, and it's like you bring yourself back down to the level of the rest of us, and we can feel a little bit more relatable. But you kind of give off this little bit of egotistical.
Well, it's because
I deserve
Reggie and
this.
Phil are like, we want you to love our games and the company that we work for and the things that we're trying to accomplish. Whereas Jeff Keighley's like, I want you to know me and love me. And then you can look at all of the stuff that all of my friends, because these are people that love me, will show you because they love me. They brought their game here. And it's like, oh my god. Just shut up and sit down, Jeff Keighley. Yeah, we know who you are, but you're really hurting your own case here. So yeah, I'm with you. I know.
A little humbleness in his life.
I'm not looking forward to the Game Awards either for that reason, because you're right, it's going to be 3 hours of him, even though normally it's good like 2 hours of musical presentations and trailers and like 15 minutes of awards. Although this year, I bet Larian Studios cleans out this year, though.
I don't know, man. It has been a gross year for games. Like everything, almost every month, as we talked about on the last
Zelda is going to take away some.
Hogwarts, Resident Evil 4. We got Starfield coming out. We had,
new Spider-Man's coming out.
Yeah, the new Spider-Man. We had Dead Space earlier this year. We have had hit after hit after hit.
Yeah,
this year.
I guess that's true. I think it's gonna largely be Baldur's Gate and Zelda, though. I think those are gonna be the two that really like claim a lot of time.
Maybe, but since they're fan based, it might be to where you end up with just a large. It depends on who votes, right? You might have a lot of people that played one of them but didn't necessarily vote. Because of the way they do those.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun this year to see who gets these awards. So
I would show percentages. Like,
yes, I definitely want to see percentage.
Like turn around and just be like, okay, yes, this one won by like 2%. You know what I mean? Like,
this would be a good year for that, because I imagine there will be some very close races.
It's gonna be hard to just pick five game of the year games. You're gonna have to do like a sudden death style. Like, here's all of the games that were absolutely incredible this year. Let's vote these down to the 8. Okay, let's vote these down to the 5, and it's gonna be like, we just can't do it. Like, there's just too many good games.
Oh man, what else do we want to talk about news-wise for this week?
Well, we could do the couple from the last week. Dark and Darker was released a few weeks ago. They are on a different client because they're still in legal battle, I should say, with Nexon. Which Nexon...
How did that work? If they were still in legal trouble, did this other one just decide to go, well, but forget about the legal troubles, but we'll do it anyway?
I think it was something like a stipulation that they couldn't be on a mainstream platform, because where they're selling it from is not.
It's a different platform, and technically they're in a lawsuit, but it's not restricting their ability to sell the game. But because they're in a lawsuit, Steam went to their lawyers and was like, hey, can we have this on our platform? Is it going to cause us any trouble? And their lawyers were like,
Probably not.
Probably not, but we don't want to risk it. We just want to stay out of this because Nexon went to them and was like, hey, you better not fucking do that or I'm going to get you in trouble. And they're like, we're going to stay out of your battle for now. And when this is settled, you can come back to us and we'll put you on Steam. But until then, deal with these little shitheads and then come talk to us. Because Steam always keeps their nose out of bad shit. Like they did with Nintendo and the Dolphin emulator. They were like, hey, Nintendo, can we do this? And Nintendo was like, no. And they're like, okay.
Oh, found out recently why it's called Dolphins. Anybody know?
Mm-mm.
Based on that one game?
The GameCube? No.
The GameCube's original name was the Dolphin.
Oh.
The Dolphin. Nice.
Yep.
Interesting.
When it was in development.
But yeah, so they released on a different platform. They've been doing pretty well for themselves. Community's getting a little... It's a little rough.
Well, aren't they selling, like, microtransactions already?
Yes,
like
there
a lot
has
of
been.
them.
Like I said, there's been a lot of back and forth. They've changed their microtransactions. Actually, based on feedback, they've changed the way they're working. Actually, changed the way they're working. So they've been taking the feedback, but it's starting to get a little rough because people are starting to outscale and paying real money and things like this, and cheaters are in the game. And for it being a hardcore game like this, it's becoming a little unbalanced and unfun for some people. So community is getting there.
If you can buy power, it's always going to become unbalanced.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's struggling right out of the gate, partially because it's not on Steam. It's always going to be because it's not on Steam. That's your biggest community. I mean, they had, 197,000 people playing on Steam. Also, the price pass to get into the game is a little high, too. It's $35, which, in my opinion, is a little high.
Might go away.
A little high for an early access game right out of the gate. It's like, you're asking us to take a big chance. The gate to get in is a little high right now. But other than that,
got to pay for legal expenses.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it is.
That's what people are scared of, too. It's like, and if they lose their lawsuit, everything you put in that game is gone.
Yeah.
You don't get any money back. So, that sucks. But, yeah, that's how that's going. I've been keeping up with it because I was super on board with it. But $35 for it and it not being on Steam is I'm keeping my eye on it, though.
I'm going to wait till the lawsuit thing is settled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go.
The lawsuit from Nexon in the U.S. has been dropped because, and Nexon got in trouble for that shit too, because they were already in litigation in South Korea, and then they tried to bring it over here and do another lawsuit, and they're like, "What? No, we're gonna drop this. You're already in litigation in your country. Don't try to bring your shit over here. We'll follow whatever they decide because it's their lawsuit."
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to screw over this company in a different country, but you're already handling it in yours. Keep your shit over there.
Because they're both Korean country.
Yeah. They're both Korean companies.
So they follow under their jurisdiction, and that's why you would want to keep it there versus trying to fight against an American company, right?
Yeah, so they were like, you're going to keep your shit over there, and we know that you're just trying to do this to fuck with their sales and whatnot and try to restrict what they're able to do, so keep your shit over there. So that's how that's going for now. Still no resolution, don't know how it's going, we'll see. But on that topic, at GamesCom, I think it was, they announced P3 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called.
Find it. That was their original name for it. It was Warhaven.
That was
theirs? Warhaven is the Dark and Darker game that they were working on. They knew that they had to get it out soon to make sure they could compete properly. So I'm pretty sure that's their Dark and Darker game because it looks quite similar to the style. We'll just have to see. All they did was show us a trailer and a release date, so we don't know exactly what it entails yet. So we'll see that. But anyway, that's Gamescom stuff. The other big game that has been just slamming everybody is Palia. They released an open beta.
Mm-hmm.
It's a free-to-play game. The company behind this game is massive. I think they've got 150 employees. They had a budget of $50 million. They've been working on this game for 5 years. and everybody is enjoying it because it's a super. It's old person's retirement home MMO.
Yeah,
I
actually downloaded it. I just haven't played it yet.
It's build a house. It's Animal Crossing online. You farm you water your flowers. You run around and harvest some rare items with other people.
Go fishing, all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
go fishing. It's super mega casual. But there has been a lot of angst in this game because for as casual of a game this is, you don't have access to very many cosmetics. You have to buy everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And one of the biggest complaints I've heard so far coming from there is that they've released pets. But there's no way to get a pet unless you buy it. That is usually the biggest complaint, is when you release something and then keep it behind a paywall. It's like, you need to be able to give people some
free-to-play sim.
Yes, it is 100%. And it's like, you need to at least give people some like basic stuff so that they can.
Well, I mean, you give them basic stuff to get them interested in getting the cooler things.
Yeah, and for people who are like, Sea Thieves has pets blocked behind, but you can get pets just by playing the game too, because you can get coins in game to buy the pets. Still accessible via in game. This one, there is nothing accessible from the marketplace via in game. It's a problem. And it's early access, and it's or open beta or whatever you want to call it, but it has been called pretty greedy in their microtransaction style, especially coming from a company that has had 5 years to work on this thing and a massive fucking budget. So
who's making that?
Keeping my eye on that one too, seeing how they grow in that respect, or if they learn their problems. But we'll see, because if this game doesn't take off, it's because of how restrictive the marketplace is.
Yeah, because from what I understand, there's not really much to do in it at the moment either, aside from like farm your resources, build your house.
It's a casual MMO. There's nothing really to do. Just farm, do some fishing. Again, retirement sim.
Chicken likened it last night because Red was talking about it. He's playing it, and he was like, "Oh, it's just modern day Farmville." I guess it is. Like, you don't do anything except for farm your resources and water your plants, and like Red has a timer set so that he can get on 3 times a day and water plants. Any games that asks me for that kind of micromanagement, I'm probably not going to do that.
I mean, that's the reason you run private servers on Ark, right?
Yeah, so that I don't have to do that.
That shit gets old real quick. I promise you that. After about a month of that, and you're like, oh, hell no, I ain't doing this shit for another month. Oh, my God.
I have plenty of building games where when I log off at the end of the day, that's it for the end of the day, and I can come back and continue my farming the next time. I'm not to the point where I want to be like, I've set 3 timers on my phone so that I get on every 3 hours and water my tulips that I can't do anything with.
Like, live servers like that.
Like, I guess it'd be different for me, or, well, I would have a different opinion on it. It wouldn't necessarily make me want to play the game. If I could harvest those resources and then sell them for the in-game currency to buy the things like the pets and the cosmetics. But if it's just like, I want to grow 50 flowers so that I can pick 50 flowers so that I can put them in my house. Like, no. I'm not doing that. But that's just me. I was going to say, I guess I'm a crotchety old lady, but it's kind of an old people game, and I'm the one not playing it, so I don't really know where to go with that.
I've been watching this game for a long, Paleo
You're
for
so
a long
crotchety
time.
You won't play the old people game.
I guess so. I'll be over here playing Baldur's Gate and Saints Row.
Yeah, no, right. No real easy way to jump topics on this one, so I'm just gonna. Another thing, Bioware has laid off a lot of people. This is bad news for Griff. Bad news for Griff.
But is it shocking? No, it's not.
Not at all. And the problem is with the terminology, and it scares me because this kind of terminology.
They laid off a lot of their
scary.
writing staff. Let's go ahead and back up a little bit. They laid off some of their writing staff, and they laid off some people. Yeah, that have been there for a long time. They fired the lady who made Varric. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can take you seriously anymore.
She is one of the biggest writers of that.
Yeah.
So losing her is
and it's not just her. They fired about 50 employees, which is according to the article, 20% of the total workforce. You fired this doesn't feel great. You fired 50 writers or 50 people, and a lot of them were your senior writing staff, before you could launch Dragon Age, the next Dragon Age game that literally has to save the franchise or else it's over for them. And you're apparently working on another Mass Effect. Who's writing that?
Based on the way
let me read this one.
AI is gonna write it.
Oh no, it's all gonna feel like the Saints Row intro.
Which makes it so rough too, because you could see which direction they're growing. Bioware announced earlier this week that it'll be laying off approximately 50 employees, around 20% of its total workforce, according to recent employment figures, as part of a shift towards a more agile and focused studio, which means faster. Each writer had been with the studio for over 20 years. These guys and girls are the senior ones. These are the people that made the studio.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
When you
Bioware.
say you want agile writing, first of all, that's some bullshit buzzword term that they're using at this point. And two, it means that you want to be able to make a product, kick it out to the public, make another product, kick it out to the public. You no longer care about quality, you care about quantity. And that's not gonna go well for you in the long run. It's just not. We have so many games already, and you're not doing anything that surprises us, and once you kill Dragon Age and you can't do a follow-up Mass Effect that's worth a damn, nobody's gonna care about the Mass Effect or the Bioware name anymore. Sorry.
Though I don't disagree with the agile comment about being kind of an asinine thing to say, but I read into it as they're eliminating anybody that's working on any other project except right now focusing on one project, and they're going to continue to focus on one at a time.
Mm-hmm. But you haven't even launched Dragon Age, and you just fired the people writing Dragon Age.
Or they weren't working on Dragon Age, and they were trying.
We don't know that they were
project.
working on Dragon Age.
Yeah, we don't know what projects they were on. They could have been working on a different game, because some of the writers that they laid off worked on Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 back in fucking 1999. Like, they could have been working on another project, and they're just like, fuck that, we're not doing any other projects. Get rid of all these people. We're just gonna whoever's working on Dragon Age right now, or that's all we need.
Or they fired everybody down to a skeleton crew, considering they let go of 20% of their staff.
Mm-hmm. Which
that's not really a skeleton crew, though.
I mean when you're dividing it between who's working on Dragon Age, who's working on Mass Effect, and who's working on the other project that theoretically you have going.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're doing
no, you still got 200 people working
on one game at a time. I think
you still got 200 people working on it, which is a lot of people.
Okay,
I think that's
cool. We'll see how it goes.
No, it's still gonna suck. Like, I have no doubt it's gonna be bad.
But I think that's the thing, is I think that they're seeing their product and they're going, this product sucks.
But their product sucks because they're letting EA tell them how to do everything. I mean, they launched Mass Effect Andromeda in a garbage state. Like, that wasn't because the writers were like, yeah, we just suck at our jobs. It's because they were like, we need to launch this right now. And they did. And then they patched it, and it works, but it's not great. So...
But yeah, that's probably the problem, is that these writers, like this group of people, were taking too much time writing it and being nitpicky and making sure that it looks good, because they know what kind of pressure that they're under to release another good game. And EA is just like, fuck it. It's taking too long. Let's just stay focused, get this done, instead of let's get this done right.
Or... let's get this done right by focusing on one versus focusing on multiples at once.
Again, we don't know if they were.
We don't know which way this is going to go. I'm just saying there's multiple possibilities that are here. We are dealing with EA, so most likely it's going to be let's get it done. But but it is where I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate at the end of the day. It could be either way.
To play devil's advocate, maybe EA is doing the right thing.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the realistic world, probably not.
Look how many other companies that they've taken, like they bought and took out the pasture because they didn't perform up to their ridiculous standards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah.
They have like a pile of bodies in a deep ditch that just
Well, they've got to. If they're focusing for sure, like let's say, if for sure that they are focusing on one game at a time to be able to get it right and get it done, that gives them enough, and let's say the game comes out and it's excellent and does what it's supposed to, that gives them enough leeway to be able to do the same thing with the next one, which is supposed to be another Mass Effect, and not run into the same problems they did in the past. So it's like, maybe that's the thought process. We'll focus on one, try to get it right because we fucked up the last few times, and try to get it done, but we don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops.
Yeah,
and we'll know right off the bat when Dragon Age comes out.
Yeah, I was going to say, when Dragon Age comes out, we will know.
When is it? When is that scheduled to be out? Next year?
Maybe next year.
It doesn't have a solid release date yet because they keep delaying it. Because they wanted it to be out this year, but it ain't ready. So.
Yeah. Another jumping subject thing. I wanted to talk about this one because I find this hilarious, and we all love dogpiling on the Epic Game Store.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They have released a new program called the First Run Program, and you can choose to participate in the initiative. They will receive 100% revenue for the first 6 months of their game. Now, there are some stipulations. In Epic words, an eligible product is a new release game or app which has not been previously released on another third-party PC store, Steam, or included in a subscription service available on another third-party PC store, Game Pass. All that being said, products in the Epic First Run program can also be released simultaneously on the publisher's and developer's own store or launchers with direct sale of a Epic digital redemption code, or integration with our keyless redemption program. So basically, EA, Ubisoft, all you guys can release your game first over here, sell your codes on your program, but they have to come to us.
Yeah, you have to open the Epic launcher in order to launch your game now.
But now, if you're going to give any money to Steam whatsoever, we're not going to accept this.
Pretty much, like, all or those Ubisoft. Words are like,
can't have Ubisoft either.
Do not give Steam any money at all, or Game Pass. You cannot do Game Pass or Steam. You cannot do those. You have to come to us.
It kind of smells like desperation to me. It seems like them giving away free games is kind of waning to people not going to get the free games, and that's the only thing people were going to them for anyway, so they're trying another thing.
You realize, based on one of the other articles that are here, this disqualifies Ubisoft.
Yeah, because Ubisoft and Microsoft are gonna have two game companies with soft. Right. Please, why?
You're right.
But
I mean, it's better than Micro Hard and Ubi Hard.
True. Okay, listen here now.
I mean, Micro Hard.
Many a few people in college we called Micro Hard.
Y'all are terrible. Okay, stop it.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, I just think that I think Epic is seeing less and less traffic through their storefront, and this is how they're trying to, because they know people like goodwill towards the devs. Oh, give them all of the money, and it's like, how does that work out for you in the long run, though? So
I mean, all that does is make development of their store even slower.
Yeah, because
as if it wasn't slow already.
They don't even they don't have the reviews yet or anything in place, do they?
No, I don't think so. I haven't been on there in a long time.
Yeah.
If the screen I used was not the same one that I used for gaming, I'd switch over real quick. But look,
it's fine. But it's just one of those things.
It's been 2 years to get a shopping cart. Come on, man.
I think with everything that Epic has shown us, they don't know how to run their storefront, and this is not going to help them. Like,
I don't think it'll help at all.
I think that they're desperate and trying to show off some faux goodwill. Oh, look, the developers get 100% of things that for 6 months. And it's like,
they do this time last year, they added polls and ratings, which is basically like, what do you rate this game? Or how challenging is this game? Is this game better to play with a team? What word best describes this game?
So still not actually reviews.
The tags.
Yeah, it's like tags.
Like, to me, the Epic Game Store is like on the same level as the Game Pass client, like, because Game Pass client is okay, Epic Game Store is okay, but Microsoft is like, hey, Steam, you want to work together? I got you, fam. We'll share games and whatever. Like, they're not afraid of Steam.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft's not as scared of anybody.
Exactly. They're like, we'll work.
That's what nobody got when all this shit was going on, and they were bitching about Microsoft buying freaking Activision. It's like, oh, they're just doing this because they're scared of this or scared of that. It's like, no,
no,
they're not. The Xbox was created because they were scared of Sony taking over the computer environment.
Oh yeah.
But the rest of it, nope.
Yeah. So I mean, Microsoft is like, cool, let's work together. Steam, we got this, and Steam is just like way up above everybody else in terms of like client. And their updates have done nothing but make the client even better. I love the library page now. The store page looks better. I think they're going to work on the community side next. So,
yeah. I like how it logs out too. That it looks like an actual app logging out and going exit and doing all that stuff instead of just done.
Yeah, it's so nice. I'm a big fan. A big fan of Steam. If you didn't know, big fan.
Big fan of Steam Deck, me personally. You know.
Hell yeah, I've gotten to hold the Steam Deck too. It's fantastic. It is definitely a good competitor to the Switch, which is what they needed. But yeah, that's the thing with Epic Games going on. So it smells a little bit of desperation right now, where they're just trying to do whatever they can to get more people over.
Yeah, like when you're giving 100% away, that means, hey, we want you here. But also, if you remember, we're 2 years removed from the last bit of them throwing all their money at people to make them exclusive. Now they're just like, we're going to give you 100% instead of giving you the money up front.
For 6 months.
We're going to give you the money for 6 months and then 12%, 88% of that afterwards. And we're going to keep 12% for being on our site. But it's like, come on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Microsoft or Microhard, whichever one you
stop.
Microsoft is going to sell Activision Blizzard streaming rights to Ubisoft for the UK, I think it is the UK, the CMA deal, and they're going to see if that one will. So basically, what that means under the restructured transaction, Microsoft will not be in a position either to release Activision Blizzard games exclusively on its own cloud streaming service or to exclusively control the licensing terms of Activision Blizzard games for rival services. So basically, they're going to open up the streaming rights to Ubisoft, and they'll have the rights to, stream the games, anybody else.
So the way Phil Spencer said it is basically, because he was interviewed and asked about it to clarify. And basically what he said was, we already have a really good relationship with Ubisoft. That's probably because of the same last names.
Soft. Micro Ubisoft. Don't worry, they'll buy them next.
God, I hope not. Please stop buying everything. But yeah, so he said that because they already have a good working relationship, they wanted to make sure that there was somebody that they could work with and do what they needed to make sure their product was represented properly. And so it was kind of an easy thing for them to do. But what it also allows them to be able to do is, if they put it on Game Pass or they put it on the Xbox, they're able to do things they wouldn't normally be able to do. But he's like, do not think this is going to be immediate. So in October, if the deal takes place in October and everything's done, please don't think that the very next day, every Call of Duty that's ever been made is going to be on Game Pass. He said it takes a long time to get all this stuff on Game Pass. He said you might be looking at, a few months, it might be looking at a year, whatever it happens to be. He said, but this way, it's us signing this deal allows them to know we're serious about everybody playing our stuff. Couldn't care less about anything else. Which it's weird too, because he calls them ABK. And it's like, so you hear the conversation and he talks about him being ABK because King is the other one that's part of that entire thing. And so he's like, he'll say, so with ABK games, you'll have to do blah, blah, blah. But it's like,
nobody's paying attention to King anymore. Just let it go.
Yeah. Well, they're the biggest mobile game company in the world.
Well, and technically doesn't affect K, right? It doesn't affect King at all.
Yeah.
It's just the A and the B you have to worry about. I am interested to see what that means for Blizzard games more than I do Activision. Activision, I kind of figure how that's going to work. But I'm interested to see, is Blizzard going to expand in some way and separate those two companies?
God, I hope they do.
Opportunity for them.
Please, Microsoft, just rip that company apart. Let them all become their own separate entities again and give them their identity back. Please. Oh my
I
god.
think it'd be a better way to go. I mean,
Oh
and
yes.
then what does it also mean for BattleNet? Because BattleNet would still have to exist based on the fact that you're still playing the game through that client, right?
People are scared that they're going to get rid of BattleNet entirely and merge it into the Xbox client, or update that. Like there's going to be something they're going to do. Either they're going to take the developers from the BattleNet client and have them help make the Game Pass client better, or the Xbox client. Which, to be fair, you can do it. You can make a seriously powerful Xbox client if you take what works for BattleNet and like merge it into Xbox clients and just create one giant system.
Right.
So
my favorite line out of this whole bit too is during that interview, the guy asked Phil, he said, "Hey, so Bobby Kotick in the past had made the statement that he didn't like the idea of having any of the Activision games on any type of the subscription services, didn't think it would work for their stuff or whatever." He goes, "How are you going to get past that during the decision-making process?" And he goes, "Because it'll be a different guy making the decisions." It's like, by the way, he ain't going to be there no more. I don't know if you caught the... Oh, it's so good. So good. This week also we had GamesCom. A lot of announcements came through GamesCom, and a lot of footage that we haven't seen yet.
For things that were already announced.
I know. Of course, we got to see some Starfield stuff. Starfield, of course, comes out. Okay, so
it is in 4 days pre-release or whatever it is.
Okay, so there's two versions of Starfield. If you're playing free on Game Pass as part of your Game Pass, September 6th is when you start. Okay. If you pay the $100 it costs for the special edition premium version, September 1st is when you can start.
Okay.
If you're playing on Game Pass and you want to pay $35 extra, you can start on September 1st also.
Okay, so
which means you don't own the game, but you own the DLC for it or whatever comes with that particular thing, which I thought was weird. The Little Nightmares 3 got an announcement as well. I know there's a lot of people that like that game, but I thought it was interesting too. They have a companion podcast that came out with it too that's supposed to have like little, I guess they're little horror stories based on the way they said it.
That's neat.
And it's already out. And then one that I think interests all four of us, Killing Floor 3 got an announcement with the weird flex that it's 70 years after the last Killing Floor game.
Sure. Time jump for a timeline that I didn't know anything about or care. That's fine. Whatever makes you happy. As long as you let me shoot things, that's fine.
Zack Snyder's created a movie called Rebel Moon for Netflix, and there's going to be a video game adaptation as well to that.
Oh, we still do that thing. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that.
Probably the same way that we felt about most of those, where it's like, oh, this is on a disc that came in my Cheerios. Cool.
Because the video.
Hey, I've got some of those. You want to see?
The video look of the movie looked actually okay. I was fine with that, and but I was just kind of like, okay, that's weird. It's supposedly Rebel Moon. This came from Wolfwood, so if it's wrong, I'm sorry. It came from one of the people in my chat, but he said that Rebel Moon came from a storyline that Zack Snyder had pitched for a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
So I don't know on that one.
Well, we'll just ring him up and ask him if that's true.
Right. Will you call Zach right now while we're sitting
here?
Yeah.
Let me hit him up on my speed
Get an
dial.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Payday 3 got an announcement with the which looks fantastic. Honestly, unless
I'm excited to watch that one. I want to put eyes on that one.
What?
Sometimes you don't have to be bad as hell. You just fucking run up there. Everybody put their hands down and start tying up people.
I'm trying to do it stealthy, and meanwhile I hear no pants. And I'm like, what'd you do?
They didn't get down when I said.
Exactly.
Remember, it's a hostage thing. Don't shoot. They don't shoot at you. You take your hostages. You get the money. You get out. Unless you're doing one of the actual nighttime robbery ones, and then you do have to be stealthy. Turn off alarm systems. Knock out people. Tie them up.
Nightingale, which is a game I've been excited about. which is a kind of a survival style game in kind of a weird world. Very similar to Valheim in a lot of ways. The way that I've seen it anyway. Got a release date, which is the day before my birthday, February 22nd. So I'm excited about that, but I'm like the only one of my friends that play the survival games that wants to play it.
Huh, that's
I think
weird.
old man
I
might
figured,
want to play it.
yeah, I was gonna say, I figured some of your group would be super into it.
Yeah, like it's funny because No Pants is like, I don't really want to. I don't know if I really want to play that one or not. I'm like, really? I think it looks good.
It looks okay. I'm interested to see how it comes out.
We got the Supersonic, the Sonic Superstars and the Sonic Frontiers DLC, the Final Horizon update. We got announcements for those as well. I know there were some people that were worried about with Sonic Superstars being kind of clunky and not feel like the old Sonic games. But they said that based on the trailer, they thought that it was going to work similarly to those and feel kind of old school in that respect.
Well, it looks like they're taking the approach of some of the new Mario games that are 2D.
That's good. I'm trying to think. Oh, the Troy Baker game, Fort Solis.
Troy Baker, Roger Clark, and Julie Brown. Roger Clark is Arthur Morgan from Red Dead, so.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of almost more there for Roger than I am Troy at this point.
That's fair. It looked okay. I'm interested to see how that game ends up on it.
I'm gonna keep an eye on that one.
We got with Cyberpunk 2077, the Phantom Liberty stuff. We also got the update information for those that might not be getting the DLC.
We got another game that I've got to play right now to my list.
You get the whole update with the base game, so
and you got to start over because there's so much new stuff. I gotta go. Oh no! I gotta go do it again. Oh no!
Oh no! Hey, you're finally getting a full game after 2 years
It
release,
was already
right?
a full game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but that's okay.
And then we got some gameplay trailer from Alan Wake 2. There's not a lot of other big games that are out there. I guess Mortal Kombat and Tekken 8 if you're big
fighters,
big into fighting games. So I don't know if anything else stood out for y'all.
No, we talked about Warhaven earlier.
And Nexon also has another game coming out too. I saw so they've got two on that list, but I can't remember what the other one was.
The Wukong game looked kind of interesting to me.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's on Game Pass.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's on Game Pass.
I believe
First Descent, is that the? Yeah, that's the other Nexon one. The First Descent.
Yes, First Descent.
Yeah.
I played. I think I've played a little bit of that one. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
You can't remember. I like that the Black Desert Online people have a new game coming out called Crimson Desert.
That game's insane. Like the amount of stuff on that game is insane.
It's a South Korean MMO, which means it's gonna be a huge grind fest and it's gonna be pretty as fuck. But like,
oh my god, it's
hardcore pay to win.
Yeah, hardcore pay to win.
As long as I can fish and don't have to pay to fish, I'm fine.
I'm not even gonna. I don't have that kind of patience or time or anything like that. So hope you all that enjoy those kinds of games enjoy the shit out of it. I imagine you will, considering Black Desert did huge numbers. So I just thought it was funny that they're like, oh, our new game, let's call it Desert, but a different color.
Right.
The first one worked out pretty well for us. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Get them all.
Yeah. Just funny.
Get them all.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I don't think there was any other announcements that I can think of, like during the week.
It was mostly those, and then showing off the games and whatnot.
There was if you're a fan of the Flight Sims game, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they're doing like local legends from different countries and stuff like that, different planes. And one of the ones they released, I had no idea ever existed, but now I'm obsessed with this freaking plane. It's called the DoX from Germany, and it is straight up a boat that just like takes off, and like I guess it was made in the 20s or 30s or something like that. But the idea is because it took so long to get from across like the Atlantic or whatever, you would be able to hop on this thing and just and they would just land like in the water near New York or something like that, and it ended up flying part of the world
That's
or
funny.
whatever. But there was no existing. It's insane to me what these guys do on that game. There was no existing blueprints of that actual plane. There was only pictures that they took that were like publicity stuff, like in downtown New York, taking a picture and stuff like that. And so they had to base it on that. And then because there's certain anniversary for that particular plane, somebody's recreating it, and somebody built the blueprints and gave the blueprints to Microsoft to be able to build inside the game.
Wasn't that nice of them?
Damn.
So I thought that was
pretty
pretty
cool,
awesome. Yeah.
Go enjoy flying your boat then.
Yeah, fly my boat. What's that, a boat?
Floats my
McFloat.
boats.
Floats McBoat.
In this case, flies my boats.
Well,
Flies
you know,
McBoat.
turn off the engines and then you really are just floating. Good luck.
Have a nice day.
Hope you have your seatbelts on and or parachutes attached.
God, I hope so. The inside of it looked cool though, because it looked like the inside of, well, it's a boat, so it looks like the inside of a boat. It's nice. I don't know how well it would hold up and how high you could go in it.
No idea. You can test it out in Flight Sim though.
That's true. I could, and then crash. I'd be like, look, I crashed my boat.
We have anything
It totes
else?
Mick doesn't float.
I don't think so. Is there anything
No,
else?
that's all of it. All of the stuff that I found.
Well, we do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every other week. I know it's weird to say each, but there it is. Every other week. Infinite Respawn. As always, you know, you can go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken is getting into the fall. There's all these games he hasn't played. Plus, he's got to run BG3 again for the 5th time. You know,
Lies of P is when I will start again,
awesome.
which I think is September 19th or 20th. That will be the first game
Soon.
that we start streaming. Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
right,
much
Ollie. Write it down.
It's literally the day before fall, because fall is September 21st. So
Okay.
the day before fall, like the fall day, that will be.
I heard some really interesting stuff about that game too. That they've the elements in there. I'm gonna let you experience them.
Oh hell yeah! I can't
that
wait.
they put in there because of the subject matter. It's fantastic. I was like, okay, that's brilliant.
I'm excited. I'm playing that game, a little bit of demo. I was like, oh, this is so good. I have to put this down because I'm gonna come back to it out of the playtest thing. I wanna get into this in the real meat of the game, because it's probably gonna suck me in like Elden Ring did and Bloodborne did. I was like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
You can also go to twitch.tv/MDBOaktree, or you can also go on to Kick. Go the same way. I stream on both. I've got a stream Monday and Tuesday of this week, and then I'll be off for about 10 days or so, if you want to figure it out, based on the fact of how long I got to go and all the traveling and everything goes into that. And then I'll be back on. But currently playing... well, tonight I'll be on doing Valheim, and then after that will be our community run of BG3, where I am a drow monk. So the wonderful world of BG3. Anyway, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
Bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Please hang up and try again.